And welcome back to the Wave Podcast. It is myself, Pat, and Dave. And guess what? Dave is shivering in his winter jacket because we are back from Snowdrift. And man, what a time we had. Dave was not made for that kind of weather, for sure. Not made
No,
for it.
I'm still trying to get my core temperature back up.
Still trying to get his toes warm. Oh my gosh. Well, we have a exciting recap for you guys today. We are going to dive in on our experience of going to Michigan and doing Snowdrift and everything that was involved in it. I think Dave and I both had an amazing experience. And also, Dave, tell them what the theme of the weekend was.
The theme of the weekend was just trying to stay warm.
Well, what kind of fun?
Type 2 fun.
Type 2 fun. Type 2
Yes.
fun was the weekend theme. We were having the kind of fun where you try not to think about it and then you think fondly on it later.
Yes. We all kept telling ourselves, we'll have fun. This will be fun later.
Yeah. I have to say, we're going to dive in, but hot tub, lifesaver. Anybody who goes to Michigan, if you get an Airbnb and it doesn't have a hot tub, I promise you made a mistake. It's not right. So, let's just start from the beginning. I mean, I was packing up my car. I had a little bit of an interesting setup to this trip because I was debating whether to take my 4Runner or to take my Subaru. And to bring the WRX, I was like, man, I am going to have two other people in the car and I'm only going to have one seat and a trunk for space. And then once we ended up sponsoring the event, which was kind of a surprise thing, we weren't sure we were going to do that. Then it was like, man, I have to fit a whole tent in my car and three people and all of the camera stuff and the luggage and everything. So what ended up happening is we basically were like, there needs to be more space. So I was like, man, I don't want to take a 4Runner to a Subaru event. So I went out. I found on Marketplace some dude selling a Subaru branded cargo carrier for my roof. I was like, sick, $200, sweet deal, throw it on the roof. Everything's cool. Then one of the body shops that I'm friends with was like, yo, it would be cool if you painted it for the event and we'll do it dirt cheap. And I was like, sick. Awesome. No big deal. Well, that quickly turned into, we're going to paint it and sand it. And, it didn't look good with the
Paint
first
match
thing.
it to the car.
Yeah, which became a whole nother project. So I ended up bringing I brought the car and it was, it looks great. The cargo carrier looks amazing. I think that in the end, right, it was the right choice. It looked good. But yeah, we packed the car up. My buddy Harsh came out. He pulled up and then we had to go pick up my other buddy Will and we got on the road, man. 12 hours. What a hike. And
Rookie numbers.
So at this point, right, we get on the road. I have gotten everything I can imagine for terms of I haven't even unpacked my car fully yet. It's been 2 weeks. I had tire inflators, I had patch kits, I had, because the other problem is I have a WRX with Brembos, so I have STI wheels on it, so I can't run my spare wheel. So I've kind of shot myself in the foot. But yeah, man, I had a great time. I loved the drive, actually. For me, it was super easy. It was cruise control, 80 miles an hour, lock in, and you just sit there and chill the whole way to Michigan, which I wasn't expecting that. I thought it was going to be more of a slog. It's kind of,
I think we got lucky. I think both of us we were watching, I'm sure both of us were watching the weather forecast before, and we got a little lucky because they pretty much got hit right before we got there. And so we didn't have to drive through any inclement conditions. Both of us, we came from Colorado, of course, but same thing. It was smooth sailing the whole way there. Like you said, just put it in cruise control and get there.
Yeah. And I think honestly too, it wasn't a very scenic trip, I would say. But
try driving through Nebraska. There's nothing to see.
Well, they always say that getting there is the hard part and then the ride home is super fast. For me, I actually felt the opposite. I felt like getting there was we were 6 hours in and I didn't even realize it. That's how fast. It just was flying by. I was excited to get there. I just was having fun, like, and plus, like, you get off work and you just feel relaxed because you're like, man, I got the next week. I don't have to worry about anything. And it was the ride home that got me because I was like, man, what a long weekend. And it's 12 hours. I'm the only one driving. Like, it's just a hike to do that.
So you didn't have any help. I didn't realize.
I didn't switch with anybody on the ride there or the
Okay.
ride back. So,
Wow. Okay.
yeah, and it was
I
straight
guess
shot pretty much,
to be
so
fair, I did more than 12 hours driving myself, but I also had two other people to swap in. So there was breaks in between that, even though I did the majority of the driving, which I always exemplify. I just like to do.
yeah.
Guy likes
Well,
driving, but
I was I was kinda the same way. I felt like I wanted to drive, I wanted to,
yeah,
like, I don't know, I've never been to Michigan. I kinda wanted to
it's
be in the
just nice
driver's
when you
seat.
want to take an hour or 2 hour break and just look at your phone, and
That's true. That was the
that
hardest
that
thing
was that
is
was the great part.
with everything going on with the event, it was hard for me to not look at my phone and, like, not know what's going on, and, like, everybody's showing up and things are happening, and I'm, like, not able to, like, see or, like, interact, and, like, people are
Yeah,
messaging us on Instagram, and I can't answer it, and it's just, like, super crazy. But, yeah, man, we basically you left before I did. Dave ends up getting to Michigan to the Airbnb way before I do. And we roll up, hours later, and it was like the party had kicked off. We were ready to rock and roll. We had the hot tub going. We were just like excited to be in Michigan. I think just the
yeah.
group of us, and we had an awesome Airbnb, like right on the water. We were able we weren't crazy outside of town, but we ended up staying in Gaylord, which was like a half hour or so from where the whole rally event and everything was taking place. And, first thing we did was we got there, we explored. Harsh forgot snow boots, which how do you do that on this trip? I don't know. But he went and got snow boots from Jay's Outdoors. And
Shout out to Jay's. No,
shout out to
no sponsor.
Jay's.
Jay's helped out. We all
Yeah.
bought stuff from Jay's. Basically, everyone. Not to cut you off, Pat, but everyone forgot something.
Yeah.
Plus, I didn't forget as much, but I wanted to buy more propane tanks for the Mr. Buddy heater, which we used, which was great. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, let's go to Jay's.
Yeah.
I figured we go to a Walmart or something, but hey, shout out to Jay's. They're way better than a Walmart. It's everything you need in Michigan.
Yeah. And
It really
and
is.
and and dude, Jay's had some stuff that I had never seen before that I was excited about. Like I got the electric hand warmer, which
That was
lifesaver.
clutch.
It's also a power bank and a flashlight, like, 25 bucks, the best money I ever spent. And then, like, dude, they just have everything for camping, fishing, just anything, boots, outdoors, snow, if you wanna go trap a badger in your backyard, they have it, like, whatever you need, they got bows, arrows, they got guns, they got,
They
I
got
pro
everything.
I promise you, whoever's listening to this, if there is a zombie apocalypse, you need to get in your car, and I don't care how far it is from you. You
Go to
need to
Jay's.
drive to Jay's in Michigan because you're gonna be far enough north and far enough away from all of the shit, but then also, like, you're gonna have a plethora of guns, ammo, food. Just you could live in the store for, like, 5 years, I think, like, just off of what's in the store, like, crazy. Yeah. So that was kind of our first kickoff. Then we went to Food and Stuff for breakfast, which
Shout out to food and stuff,
shout out Parks and Rec too. Really cool place, We had a nice breakfast and it was chill. So
which
at
I just have to say shout out because a side note, they have I'm not kidding, probably about 300 to 400 reviews, and they still have a 5.0 all 5-star review rating. Let that settle in, people. They're doing something right, and they got the food down.
yeah.
And I bought a
Well,
shirt too, so
I
I
did
got
too.
some stuff. I
Yeah.
got some stuff.
Something that was kind of sticking out to us is like we had planned to get there Wednesday-ish, right? Then Thursday we get to kind of explore, do whatever we got to do in town. Friday, the event kicks off. Saturday, the event ends. Sunday, we recover. And then Monday, I would drive home. That was my plan, at least. I know you guys left a little early. Thursday, we kind of ended up just like hanging around. Like we were waiting to hear from Ethan, who was racing. And we were just kind of like putting around town, grabbing food, hanging at the Airbnb, doing some cool stuff. But it was really cool to go to some of the local spots the following day on Friday. We ended up going to Tally's, which was right at the Park Expose. Great bar, great people, loved being there. Every time we went
The
there,
best burger I've ever had in my life. I will say it. I'll die on this hill. I'm not kidding. I've had the best burger. I've had a lot of burgers. I haven't had them all, but Tally's, you win.
I heard Dave say on this trip that he would make the drive to Michigan for this burger. 20-hour trip for a burger says a lot, I think. Yeah, I think anybody, we are not sponsored by Tally's, but man, we should be, because what a trip, man. It was like, they just had great food, and I thought the drinks were awesome. Like, it was very like bar feeling. It
The
was just
staff
like,
was amazing.
yeah,
I mean, again, shout out to them. They were just beyond expectations. They really and that just foreshadows this is a big weekend for a small town, and they pull it off, with 5 stars. They absolutely kill it. Every one of
yeah,
these small towns that, encompasses this event, whether it be Lewiston, Atlanta, or even Gaylord that we stayed in, there's so much of this local community that really, no pun intended, really rallies behind this event. And I think that's really what both of us found really special is that so many, like, you turned any which way, left or right, and you were hanging out with the local, and it was so special to get to spend that time out there in that event and with the community, because they wouldn't embrace an event like this if they didn't want it.
yeah.
So
You know,
again,
something
shout out to
that
them.
I kept reflecting on is that when I went to Ireland, we took a day to go to a hurling match, it was like first thing in the morning. They have a local stadium in the town. And so we go out to this hurling match, and you see everybody waking up in their house, and they're all walking to the stadium. They're getting it's a couple bucks for a ticket on a Sunday or whatever. We go into the event, we're watching the game, and it's just all the local people, and they're all cheering and like having fun, and like, it's just something that they get to do because it's in their hometown. And then at the end of it, everybody leaves and they go to the bar and they hang out with all their neighbors, and everybody gets along, and like it's like everybody knows each other, very small townish. And dude, that was like the same experience as this. I felt like
Mhm.
Snowdrift was like, it's kind of interesting because Dave and I had a different experience than most people might have, because all the coincidences that happened on this trip, which like I felt like I was in the Twilight Zone half this trip. It was like, dude, like Matt, who was on a previous podcast episode, if you guys listened to the How to JDM Swap a Baja, we met him, through Reddit for that episode. Well, Matt lives in Kalamazoo and just moved to Denver, which is how he got in the car with Dave and went back to Michigan past his hometown. So, I owning Subaru Mechanics for 10 years, have had people who have had helped me run the group for a long time. And somebody I've known for a few years is Max, who lives in Kalamazoo. Well, turns out Max and Matt live on this essentially the same road in Kalamazoo. So like they've seen each other's Subarus but never said hi. We end up dragging Matt all the way back to Michigan. And then while we're in the woods at the rally event, Max and his crew roll up and they like totally blow out the whole area. They build the fire. It's like, it was just so random. Everything was so random on this trip. Like, you know, I knew people that were racing that I didn't even know were gonna be there. Like, it's just like there's so many weird coincidences about like how things panned out. And
Yeah.
the joke also was that Matt was our local tour guide because, he's from the area, but we just kept joking saying that he did not prepare us at all for anything because the weekend was so awful with how cold it was. And it was just brutal, man. Like, so Friday, when we kicked off the races, we went to the Park Expose in the morning. Brutal wind, like just absolutely brutal. We didn't even put the tent up. We were just like, nope, not doing it. So We put the table out. We met some people, handed out some T-shirts. Travis was swarmed. Everybody was there to see him and all the other drivers. Leo was there. It was big. And we took off. We right around the 6 o'clock mark, we ran to the first event. And Dave and I, get there, and we realized with the rest of our crew very quickly that the people who run this thing are like, yeah, we're gonna walk you through the woods to get to where you're going. We are trucking to our first spot of the day. Super long road in the middle of the woods, all snow. But we're doing it. The cold is absolutely ridiculous, but we're just keep trucking on. Yo. So here we are with all this equipment. We're walking through the woods, and we get to the spot. It's ice cold in the middle of the dark.
We're trudging through, man. It was rough.
Yeah, and we end up just setting up camp on the track, just like plop down. We're getting some good pictures and video, and then we're like, wow, that was a cool 5 minutes. And we're like, get back in the car, we're going home. There's a hot tub at home. And so even though there was some fires going and like people were hanging, like we were just like, you know what, solid first day, let's pack it in.
I just see that meme, he wasn't ready.
Yeah. You know what? We got to see all the cars do one night pass, and we just said, let's go. So, I think that, Dave, you can agree that that was the right move, because it was very cold and we were not happy.
We were woefully underprepared. By the end of that first stage, the first night, what was there, 7 of us, I think? Yeah, 7 of us in total. Well, I want to say 5 of the 7 were questioning hypothermia.
Yeah.
After the first night, we were questioning if our limbs were going to regain function. So, yeah,
Yep.
I think that was the right call. That being said, the next day was, not to cut ahead, but a lot better because we knew a lot more. We'd been experienced a little bit more. And naturally, as the old expression goes, it's a little bit warmer during the day than at 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah. Well, so before we get to Saturday, Friday, we go to Tally's. We have our first burgers there. We're all just dead to the world, just having a drink. And the sickest part of this whole trip was that Michigan is like a whole like rally track in itself. And there's like hardly any cops. Like anybody who is thinking about going to this event, like once you get there, right? Like there's almost no cops, and you just like rip every turn sideways, and it's awesome. And you just do that. Every road is snow. Like, I'm not condoning this. I hope the cops of Atlanta don't hate me, but like I loved being able to like go to the event on these like fire roads, and then on the way out, they're like 3 lanes wide and they're all snow, and and it's just you, and you're just like,
There's no one there.
Like, dude, I had so much fun with that. That was like such a blast.
There's a guy in front of you or maybe one guy behind you, because, it was just us. So,
yeah.
We had some fun, Pat.
Yeah, man. And so, Friday, we eat, we go back to the Airbnb, and then that's where we get in the hot tub, and like it was like a mad dash to get from the house to the hot tub. And I just remember like we had to keep the beer in the hot tub, because the second you pull it out of the hot tub, it would just freeze solid. And you were like, okay. So it's like,
that was my favorite moment when you sent me the text message and you're like, hey, can you bring us some beers? And I'm like, oh, they must have already went through the beers. I brought them out. It's because all the beers had froze.
Yeah. Oh my God. And the amount of snow there, the amount of snow was crazy. I was in the hot tub looking up at the garage being like, man,
dude, yeah.
Man, that shelf of snow, if that comes down, I'm dead. I was like,
that was like a 20-minute, ordeal the next morning, by the way, of a couple of the guys trying to clear that out, because you're right. There was a genuine fear of life.
You know what? I'm going to have
when you said that thing.
I'm going to have AJ include that video of them cleaning the snow off of the garage, so I didn't die in the hot tub.
Okay, I got cold.
Oh my God. This is is serious.
That's good enough.
Yeah. Um, we basically survived. I felt like, when I go camping and I bring everything I can, and I am like, you know what? I know I'm gonna be in the woods with no service and I'm gonna have to cook all my own meals on a fire. You kind of are like, I'm surviving for the next couple days. And I think that I went into this trip being like, we have an Airbnb, there's restaurants, whatever. It's going to be more of like a vacation. And then I realized as soon as we got there that this is just straight up survival. Every day is just survival. Like you're just literally trying to get to the next day and like not think about how bad the day before was. So Saturday, we went to bed, at least I did. I went to bed pretty late Friday because we were in the hot tub chilling. So we have to wake up. So Friday they were like, "Hey, you guys got here kind of late to the park expose. Maybe like tomorrow you guys get here earlier." So somebody had told Dave like, "Hey, you should get here like 7 a.m. Like don't be here."
7:30.
Yeah, they're like, don't be here much later than that because like, we want to get you in early and set up and whatever. So we're like, all right, cool. So we all get up at 6, we're all getting ready, we leave, we get there. We are the first people there. We're early. We made it early. We're the first fucking people here. They definitely told Dave 8 o'clock. I'm calling. We're first here, Dave.
Yep.
And Dave's here blocking the road. Got the rig.
Oh yeah.
This park expose is awesome, but goddamn, did I not want to wake up at 7 a.m. Oh yeah. We'll see how it goes. The ARA isn't even there yet. It's just us. We're just, like they had some of their people that like run the event, but like they hadn't even put up their
Yeah.
their balloons and all their stuff. Like they were just getting ready.
They were still getting set up.
Yeah. So we got to set up our tent and we were just having a good time. I'm glad we got there early because I feel like we were able to get our coffee and hang out and like meet people and like, something that was really cool about the event in the park expose is just the variety of people that were there.
Mm-hmm.
Dave and I were in the booth. We had gotten set up. Dave was working traffic, and I'm sitting there, and this guy walks up, very early on, and I forget his name now. I know that Max, one of our friends out there, he knows him, but he goes, "Hey, like, love the podcast, love the group, really cool, like, nice to meet you guys, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Oh, like, what are you doing here?" And he was like, "Yeah, I work for Vermont Sports Car." And I was just like, "I'm sorry, you work for who? Can you say that again, please?" And I was just like, "Holy shit, that's awesome! What a sick job!" To work for a company like that must be just like amazing. So I was blown away by that. Was there anything about the park expose that you liked?
Particularly, again, just stumbling into it because we got there so early. That was something that really was always one of my, I guess, bucket list type things, was getting to block traffic effectively with my Subaru. And so I was given permission by the ARA group to block traffic.
Yep.
That was a very humbly proud moment where I was like, okay, Subaru's blocking traffic. Let's go.
Yeah.
It was great. And I
Yeah.
mean, naturally befitting, I already have all of uh, the lighting set up. So I was able to put the thing into strobe mode and almost, I always say, I have this mode on my lighting setup. I don't use it on road legally for any reason other than this kind of scenario where I was asked to do it. But I have a full strobe mode. So people effectively thought for a moment there was a Subaru police car, like we talked about in a earlier episode. Like they're like, wait a minute, is that Policia? Maybe, but that's a Subaru Outback, and they've never seen one of those before.
Yeah. We also we had a genius idea. Dave had put the speaker that he was playing music on top of his car, and it was playing music for the event, which was a genius idea in itself. And then we had the idea to put the podcast on the speaker. And I was just like, "Oh my god, like, that's insane, like, we should just do that.
It was
Why are we
great.
not doing?" And so we ended up putting the Snowdrift podcast that we did on the speaker at Snowdrift, which was such a weird feeling to just hear yourself talking about Snowdrift at the event, pre-recorded, like,
People were doing
man.
double takes. They were stopping like,
Yeah, it's like
what they're
people
talking about
almost
Snowdrift. What?
people
I'm
almost thought
here.
it was like a live, like, like somebody on a megaphone or something, I
A
think.
couple of people did, yeah. A couple
Yeah,
people definitely thought it was live,
yeah.
which maybe
So,
next year we do live.
that was something that we were gonna do, but I was trying to think of the logistics, and, like, the problem is our booth is, like, right next to the speaker, so I didn't want to talk and then hear my own voice and, like, totally throw me off doing that, you know? So, we're gonna have to logistically figure that out for next year for sure. But I just had fun meeting everybody. There was just such a variety of people that came up and got T-shirts and hung out with us, and we did get some video content with a couple people that sat in our booth and just kind of gave us the lowdown on Snowdrift and their experience. And they come every year, so they love it. They're dedicated. So
Oh yeah.
after the park expose and Travis is there again and everybody's meeting everyone and getting merch and everything, it's like a mad dash to the next stage. And we ended up getting to it, and we were one of the first people there outside of the locals who they knew about this spot and they just wanted to get there early. They brought wood, they brought coolers, they had everything. So this is where we get to the event, we get to the stage, and we're trying to find a place to sit and get our chairs in and, like, set up a little viewing area. And we found the perfect area, but it was kind of on an incline. There was, like, branches in the way. There was just a whole lot of debris and, like, whatever. And so we just kinda, like, made do. Like, I actually sat in my chair and flipped over backwards because I didn't know that there was branches under the snow because the snow was so high. Like, there was just, like, unforeseens, I would say, at this place. And
Our buddy Tully flipped over 3 times, at least
oh
that
my
I saw.
gosh.
So you weren't the only one, Pat. I just wanna say, you weren't the only one. Like, everyone was flipping over, and it was bad.
Yeah, and the worst part was, like, the snow was like sand. It's so cold that it actually
You
doesn't
thought you were
stick.
fine, and then, like, 30 seconds later, you flipped over backwards. That's what
Yeah.
happened.
The snow just, like, wouldn't pack to itself. It was like sand. It would just, like, fall apart. You couldn't, like, stand solidly on it because it wouldn't compact. It was like it's constantly your feet were sinking, and you'd have to, like, keep moving your legs to, like, stay on snow. Like, it was just a
Matt
lot.
did it right. He had, which for anyone who wants to know, if you have snowshoes, you're a god.
Bring them. Bring them.
Bring them. Bring them. Uh, Matt was great. That was one of the pro moves.
Yeah.
Matt was from, like Pat said, Matt was out there. He's from out there. He's like, I brought my snowshoes. I'm like, well, why didn't you tell anyone else to bring snowshoes, dude? What the hell, man? Like you said, like we would have all loved to. We can go on Amazon. Come on,
Yeah.
2-day Prime.
I wish I had a photo of his snowshoes, I think, somewhere.
Yeah,
Because they were just hilarious. I just thought they were perfect, and, like, it
they
just
were
was like
great, dude.
yeah.
They weren't like your old grandpa style, tennis racket. They were like they're like a foam style. I don't know how they call it, but describe it. But they were like
they
foam.
were
They were great.
they were perfect for just staying on top of the snow. It was
Uh-huh.
perfect.
And also, that's another pro tip: insulating you. If you're just standing on snow, even in your boots, the rubber insoles of your boots, even if you have the most expensive boots, don't insulate you from the ground, and your feet will get cold. I promise you.
Yeah.
And so with Matt having those extra snow boot layers, yeah, he put us all to shame.
Yeah. We, just so everybody knows, we're diving in a little bit, but we are putting together a whole video on surviving Snowdrift, so I don't wanna go into too many details because it's all gonna be in that video. But, what I wanna get across is bring snowshoes. You're gonna need them. They are necessary. I think they would have made my life way better.
You won't look goofy. You won't look goofy.
Yeah.
Everyone else is going to be like, oh, I wish I had those.
Yeah, for real. We actually, I'm gonna pop it up on screen here. We actually have a picture of
Matt.
Dave.
Oh,
I couldn't find the picture of him in the snowshoes. I know I have it somewhere, but I could not find it.
we'll put it in the edit.
Yeah. But here is Dave shivering in the cold in our booth. And there's Matt. This was just like, iconic of the whole weekend. You're 3 layers on and you're dying. And it's just insane.
It's not enough. It's not
Yeah.
enough. 3 layers is not enough. You need 12.
Yeah. So here's where things turn is like we're just chilling and I get a tap on the shoulder or whatever. I see that it's Max just rolling up on us with a whole crew. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you doing here? Like, how did you find us? And he's like, yeah, he's like, remember, like we texted and I forgot that I had sent him our location. And so he rolled up on us and was like, yeah, we went to our first location. It didn't pan out. So we came here. And they literally were like, man, this was the funniest part. They pull up and they're like, man, you guys are just sitting out here in the woods, like under these trees and stuff, like no fire. Like he's like, yo,
We were also under the impression we couldn't have a fire.
yeah.
Let's
He was like,
I
yo,
mean,
get the stuff. They pull out a chainsaw. They start cutting branches down. They're cutting the wood. They're getting the fire going. They got lighter fluid. They're just getting it all going. They're like setting up the bank of the track for us to all like sit on like solid ground. Like, they bring a cooler with drinks and stuff. I was like, damn, this is the way. This is like totally, on a trip where I felt like we were really suffering, it totally changed my whole perspective on the whole trip. My perception changed like tenfold. I was like,
that's when you
oh,
started dancing, Pat.
well, that's the thing. Like, it went from suffering in the cold to like, oh, this is like a snow party now. Like, we're having a good time. Like, this is 100% way better.
It's like Bonfire Alley, but during the day.
Yeah. I don't want to talk too much on Bonfire Alley, but I will say that it was missed. I think that,
Yeah.
Saturday, the way that it all pans out is that we were at this spot for two passes, right? So you set up camp, the cars come through, and then it's another like 3-4 hours until the cars come through again. So that whole time you're just hanging out, you're partying, you're just kind of like waiting for stuff to start happening. You have the 0, 000, 00 cars that come through, and then
Which
everything's about to
sometimes
kick
are
off.
delayed.
Yeah.
That was one moment we were all sitting there like, what is going on?
Yeah. Well, so that's where everything kind of got crazy. Is like we were all hyped up for the second round of the cars coming through. We got all the content. And then it was like, well, do you really want to go run across town to another stage and hit that and try to get some more content? Or do you want to go to a bar and get warm and eat a burger? And so, normally this is the problem. That wouldn't be an option, right? Normally the first race would happen at like 11. The second race would happen at like 2, 3 o'clock. And then we would be, from what Max told me is like 1 o'clock, we would have been rolling over to Bonfire Alley to get a good spot, to be by the fire, to meet up with everybody, and then the main event kicks off. So Saturday for us was, we made the best of it, but like realistically with Bonfire Alley, it would have been way more jam-packed with really cool stuff. We would have been at the main event. And something that I learned from this whole experience is that the cars that everybody drives to get to Bonfire Alley and where they all park, when you leave, you actually get on the stage and you drive the rally stage to get off of the track, to get out of there. So, obviously, I believe there's a lot of issues with that, but I think anybody getting in their car and driving a rally track is questionable after Bonfire Alley. But
yeah,
my overall experience between Friday and Saturday was that I had a great time. I got some great video footage, got some great photos. We really made the most of our time there. And I feel like we just were trying to do our best to like be in with the locals, trying to like really experience the whole event for what it is on an off year and try to get the take of the people that go to this event every year and how they feel about how it has changed. there was people walking on Saturday on the stage, and security or whoever works there, volunteers, were yelling at them to get off the stage, get off the stage. It's hot, get off the stage. And they just kept walking. They just ignored it, didn't even react to it. And so you could tell everybody there was frustrated. The people right across from us on the inside of the track, they were like, we've been coming here for 20 years and you're going to ruin it for all of us. Get off the track. And like, that to me said a lot, because I felt like, those are the locals that are here every year. And they're pissed that these people have come and ruined this. And they already are pissed that there's no bonfire alley. And now here you are doing some stupid shit on the track, potentially causing further damage to something that they love and the sport that they come to every year. So it was tough. It was tough to see. It was tough to understand. And I think that like my whole game plan was to come into town and just take it in, understand how people feel about it, understand the stigma about it, how last year affected the people. And I think that like people really miss it. I think it's a big part of Atlanta and a big part of the area, and a lot of these restaurants love these people coming into town for the event, and that's why they sponsor it and they keep it going.
Not getting rowdy.
Yeah.
I'll add.
I think something I picked up on is that if this was a regional event and there wasn't Travis Pastrana, there wasn't Leah Block, there wasn't all of this crazy, the CEO of GoPro showing up and whatever, I can see why the regional rallies maybe have trouble getting attendance, right? Like, as I've been in talks with STPR, and we are planning on sponsoring that, and we're planning on working with them and getting content at that event. Talking with people who run a regional event is very different than talking with the people who ran Snowdrift. And I feel like Snowdrift is so official, and they are the big event, and they have big names, and they have big companies behind them, and like it's not as like local and like easygoing, I feel. So that's something I'm interested in July when we go to STPR. I'm interested to get kind of that distinct feeling of one versus the other. And then in the same stroke, like Dave's going to Rally Colorado, so that's going to be kind of a big deal for him to go out there and experience that on his end. And I don't know, I feel like it's going to be cool. Like STPR has a jump that they're known for. There's a big jump in that rally event. And I think that like I'm interested to see how much I'm going to like it without the high powered cars, because seeing Travis and Leah and all of these other like high powered, big money drivers coming through and ripping, right? It's going to feel probably a little slower, I would say, but I'm still interested to go and experience. And like, they told me they get like 32 to 35 drivers for a regional event. That's a lot of cars. Like I'm pretty excited to go. And like, not just that, they're offering a spot for us to camp out at the rally event. So we're going to be camping out in this like horse barn situation and like just hanging with the locals for the event. It's going to be awesome. I'm like super stoked to be able to do more of this stuff. And I think that it's going to benefit you guys, because as we get this content, we're going to put together some really cool stuff and really give an insider take on these events. So, as far as Snowdrift goes, it's a big event. I'm sure that Travis Pastrana is one of the biggest names that rolls into Atlanta, Michigan once a year, and people freak out and they come out and they want to see it. And I think that that's maybe how Bonfire Alley has gone out of control. But in the end, I mean, we had fun, right? I think that both of us had a really good time. And I think
we had
that
an amazing time.
Yeah, and I think that like the people we brought, they didn't know what to expect either. I don't think any of us had ever been to a rally event before this. And so it was kind of like a first eye-opening experience for all of us to like see these cars and meet these drivers and be at an event like this. And I feel like we jumped in feet first into one of the hardest rally events to go to because of how cold it is and the trek that you have to make. So
Oh, and I'm looking forward to the event out here in Colorado in a couple months, because
yeah.
I'll be wearing a t-shirt, so it'll be very different from wearing my winter parka.
I'm excited to be at the one out here. I think you're right. It's going to be a much different experience, way different. But after the whole trip, we got in the hot tub again. We were living out of that thing at this point, and we just had like a last chill day together. We got food, we hung out. The next morning, Dave and his crew packed because they got a 20-hour trip, so they had to take off. And once they got in the car, we kind of game planned. And something cool that we did was we went up to Boyne Mountain, which is like a ski area. And my buddy Harsh and I got to go up there and take pictures on the skywalk or the sky bridge. And then they also have a bar up there that's an igloo. And it's like a real ice igloo. Everything's ice, like super cool. Definitely worth the trip. We got to
Next year.
Yeah, we got to ride the chairs up to the top of the mountain, which was so cold. But once we got up there, it was like, dude, you're on top of a ski mountain having drinks in an igloo bar. They got fires everywhere.
That looks so cool.
Yeah, we got to meet some cool people by the bonfire there too, like just like chit-chatting. Dude, I'm telling you, it's so funny. One of our hot spots for networking on this trip was at Boyne Mountain because there was all these people around the fires, and we started talking about the event, and then they're like, "Oh, how do we find you guys?" And then I started showing them the QR code, and they started following us. So that was a really funny one. I loved that.
Let's go.
Shout out to anybody who's watching who was at Boyne Mountain. Like, you got to meet us, and that was super cool. So we love that.
Leave a comment. Let us know.
Yeah. So, it was Super Bowl Sunday. You guys were on the road. And I decided, you know what? Let's just try to do something else cool for the night. We went to Traverse City, made the 1.5 hour hike from Boyne Mountain, which was a half hour from our Airbnb, so like 2 hours away. And we just started hitting up bars. And we went to the Coin Slot, which was an arcade bar. Super cool. I got to play Big Buck Hunter, my favorite game, and we were just having some drinks. And then from there we rolled over to You and I, which is one of the bars that stays open the latest in Traverse City. And dude, I sit down at the bar, we're watching the football game, and the guy next to me is in Pats gear head to toe. And I was like, "Hey man, I am from Rhode Island originally. I'm a Pats fan." And we started talking. He's like, "I'm from Maine." He's like, "I moved out here because of my ex-wife." And like, it was just like, he was such a cool dude. We were just kind of like chatting about football and about, the event. And he's like, "I've never been to a rally." He's like, I'm probably going to try to go next year since I'm out here anyway. Like, and it's just like, I feel like the networking and like the people that we met who were just super chill the whole time. It was like, it felt like it kept going. Anybody that you talk to and you just mentioned, the event or whatever, they would just start talking to you like, yeah, that's cool, man. Like, yeah, we're glad you're out here. We're glad to have you in town. And, hopefully you guys have a good time and stuff like that. So, yeah. So as an overview of our trip, that's kind of where it ended for me. Harsh and I went back to the Airbnb. We got set up with our buddy Will, went to bed, and the next morning we did check out and we left. And Dave was already nearing in on Denver. We were on the road back to New Jersey. And unfortunate event.
We made it back about the same time. Just kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
About almost.
Yeah. So, dude, this whole trip goes without a hiccup, right? Like, I was nervous about bringing the Subaru, totally pans out, whatever. We are maybe 45 minutes from my house, and I'm on the highway, and I hit the biggest pothole I've ever hit. Dude, like Will, who was asleep in the back, his head hit the door so hard that he woke up. I was just like, I don't even want to know. I was just like, whatever it is, light will come on, like whatever, So we keep driving, and I get home. I don't even look at it. I just unpack and whatever. And after I unpack the next day, I go to work, and I go to check the car in the driveway, and I have a bubble, dude, like bubble in my tire, like big bubble, and the rim has a flat spot on the outer lip.
Oh, no.
So this is my winter set. These are like the 2014.
Michigan potholes, man.
So I take it to work. I put it on the balancer. I balance it out. Everything actually was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. The flat spot didn't actually do anything. And so
okay.
I almost sent it to a wheel shop, but I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to get a new tire. Well, Dave, turns out the Toyota Celsius is no longer made. Now it's the Toyo Celsius 2, and they changed the whole tread pattern, so I can't just get a single tire. Love that for me. And
that's how they do it.
dude, so now next season,
Oh my
I'm gonna
God.
have to get a whole new set. Like,
Hey, Pat, we'll talk because maybe next year I'll send you my Nokian Hakkapelitas.
there we go. I need something
I
wider,
got some
dude.
Nokians.
My Michelins are wide and they fill the wheel well pretty good. But when I picked up this winter set, they're a little more narrow because the guy was like slammed and they just look weird. I don't like them. The Toyo Celsius isn't my favorite anyway. I want some Blizzak. So
You need like a 265.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, how was it for you getting back and readjusting?
It was fantastic. The drive back, it was the opposite. It's funny because you mentioned earlier, I've done a lot of road trips, and it's usually like you said, it's usually shorter getting there, longer getting back. Wherein this was the opposite for me. It was like, oh, or shorter getting there, longer. Yeah. So for me, it was weird. It was like kind of like longer getting there. I was like, come on, I just want to get there.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go. I want to be there. And then when I got there, I was like, no, I don't want to be there. No, I don't want to be here. This is horrible. Like you said, I'm what's the word? I'm not predisposed to being in those environments.
Yeah.
Simply put.
It's funny because you're in a rush to relax, you just want to get there and like drop everything and just,
And that took so much longer, weirdly. And then usually it's the opposite for me. Is getting home seems longer, but for me, getting home was like, we're back. All right, this is great. And what was so funny was transitioning was when I got back, my Snap-on dealer, of course, came by. I get back on Monday, but I went back to work on Tuesday, and that's when our Snap-on dealer came in. And I think it was a balmy 58 degrees.
yeah.
She's like, "Hey, I have some orders for you." "Oh, great. Come out of the truck and get them up." So I was walking out of the truck, and all of a sudden, as we're walking out, she's like, "Aren't you cold?" She looked back. I was like, she's wearing a hoodie, and I'm like, wearing a t-shirt. Huh. No, actually, it's nice. I'm okay with it. And that was kind of my moment of reacquisitioning to where, yeah, that's I think one of the, for anyone who doesn't know, originally I'm from the Northeast, just like you, Patrick.
Yep.
I came from Philly originally, and I think it's so funny because everyone has the misconception that Colorado is just like a winter wonderland for 12 months out of the year or 9 months out of the year. But surprisingly, it's not that way. And especially with, I guess, without going into a whole nother sidebar of politics, but global warming,
Yeah.
winter just doesn't seem to be happening.
Yeah.
So as far as Colorado is concerned, we just, at least in the last like 3-4 years that I've been out here, or I've been out here longer than that, I should say, but at least last 3-4 years, we haven't really had any winters. I don't know how to describe that, but it's kind of weird. Obviously, that's put a big squeeze on the winter sports market,
Yeah.
all the resorts that are relying on skiing and snowboarding, they're paying a lot of money to make fake snow
Yeah.
in the last couple of years, which I think is kind of funny that we're in the Rocky Mountains and they're making snow.
Yeah.
But as somebody who I always say is not predisposed to colder weather, I never got into skiing and snowboarding or even tubing. I'm that guy that wants to hang out at the lodge
Yeah.
and have a
Yeah.
nice hot coffee.
I never blame anybody for that because I feel like sometimes it's nice to be in the weather, but you really don't want to be out in the weather. You know what I mean? It's like you just want to have something warm in a cold place. You don't want to
Try going to work in that, try commuting in that. And
Yeah.
that's one thing that I didn't realize, but moving out here, if we have a blizzard overnight, yeah, the morning commute might suck. But by 11 a.m., all the snow's melted and
Yeah.
your commute home is fine.
Yeah. Something that was a constant theme on this trip, which AJ is going to have to clip this, is the term core lord was a theme.
Yes.
And shout out to Matt with the Baja.
Yes.
Core lord, right, is a term that explains somebody who is like super legit, right? Like, so like an astronaut. Astronauts train their whole lives and they are just like fully focused on going to space. Like that is a
They
core
can
lord.
handle
Like
it.
at their
They
core,
got it.
right? They just one track mind, absolute unit, boss. That's what a core lord is.
This is what I do. I'm an
You know,
astronaut.
yeah. You look at like somebody who just like Travis Pastrana is a core lord. That dude would literally take your bike from you and do a triple backflip just cause, like just cause like he's just that way. So,
Mhm.
I feel like as far as people from Michigan, you know, people from Michigan are just all of you. If you are from Michigan and you're listening to this, absolute core lord you are. Because my
Absolute.
my God, I cannot imagine your life
Oh,
because like you go to work in this, you got to go out at night in this. Like you must like shovel part of your driveway and then you turn around and there's like a foot of snow in the part you just shoveled. Like, like
and you're like, okay,
you
I
know,
got this.
every road is a fire road. Like you're just like you're like I just to be a Michiganite, I don't care what part of Michigan you live in, right? Like you are core lord. I just have to
Yes,
say. Northern Michigan, you
agreed.
people are a special kind of core lord. Y'all are what if you live in Atlanta, Michigan, and I don't know what your deal is, but like if you live there,
100%.
you are a core lord. You're living the core life. And
Mm-hmm.
we just want to tell you that you guys are units for like not only living in it, but then like wanting to go out and party in it. It's like, I just hard to wrap my head around.
Next level.
New Jersey gets a little cold and I'm like, "Oof, I don't know if I'm going out today." Like these
Well, my
people are
shout out to my mom. She used to live in Maine. I feel like Maine's in that same kind of
dude,
upper
Maine is
echelon.
tough.
If you live in
Yeah.
Maine, there's a reason why LL Bean is from Maine. Okay, let's just let that settle in.
Yeah.
LL Bean boots, yeah, they know
Yeah.
what they're doing up there in Maine. Okay,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, we had a great trip. I think that Michigan is
Mhm.
awesome. 1000% want to go back next year. I'm hoping that Bonfire Alley will be back next year. We're gonna have to
I need
keep
another 2
updated on
months,
that.
by the way, Pat. I need 2 more
Yeah.
months. Like, it's type 2 fun, like we said.
Yeah.
In 2 more months, I'm gonna be looking forward to going back, but right now, I'm still trying to get my core temperature up.
Yeah. Listen, we're gonna go to so this is perfect, right? We're gonna go to the rallies in July. You're gonna go to Rally Colorado. I'll go to STPR. We're gonna get reinvigorated, right? It's gonna be warm. We're gonna see the cars racing, and we're gonna be like, wow, this is great. But man, Snowdrift was even better. Like Snowdrift was the event because of the level it's at, right? Versus the level of the rallies we're about to go to. So I think
And
that
then we're
like
gonna bring 12 layers.
we're gonna appreciate like July, right, is gonna make us appreciate what Snowdrift was. And then when Snowdrift starts coming back up again, the hype train is gonna be like through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
So, anybody who's thinking of going, you definitely should. And y'all should definitely watch out for our video that we're gonna be putting out. Very excited to get the final piece of that. And yeah, I just want to do a good job and kind of represent Michigan and really put it in the light it deserves to be in for what it is. So
Again, shout out to Tally's. Oh my god,
shout
best
out to
burger.
all the sponsors, all the local people that came out and supported the event. Like it just like felt like they were supporting the community. And I think that was cool. No, Dave, I don't know if you have anything else from the trip you want to throw in there because there's so much that went on.
The only thing I can tell everyone, before, we get into the, you know, the official surviving Snowdrift, yeah, it's everything you could ever imagine and then some, and I mean that in both ways, not just what you could the amount of fun that you're gonna have, but also the amount of things that you're gonna endure, you know? I think that it's a testament. I think it's a litmus test, you know? I think that unfortunately, fire got cut short this year because there was the few outliers, that I feel like, uh, for lack of a better term, traded, you know, last year's event. And as far as maybe, you saw it differently, Pat, but I don't think you did. But I think we saw very much this year a return to a core, group. And the people that were there, the people that showed up were the diehards, the people that were, you know, as much as, enthusiasts, but also respectful. Everyone there was very, very communal. I mean, there were many a times where we saw a beer get thrown across the course, from one side of the group to another. I feel like that's the level of like, hey, I got a beer. You get a beer? Here you go.
Yeah.
Lob one across the track. Not when cars were passing, of course, but hey, we're all community, and I feel like the community at Snowdrift is very much a tight knit one, and we're really excited to partake and have it be our first year, and obviously not our last, as you said, Pat, because we're coming back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be still packing uh little heat warmers into my blankets every night when I sleep because I'm still trying to resume that core temperature.
Yeah. I'm gonna give a little bit of a sneak peek into one of the points of the video that we're putting out is dude, like the people make the event. I think that it's one of the main things that I found from going to this event is just that like if you go to Snowdrift and you stay by yourself, or if you stay with just the couple people you come with, right? You'll have a good time. I mean, you're probably not gonna be super social, or you're probably gonna just like hit the event and go home and like it's a whatever. I will push anyone who goes to this event to just be extroverted. I don't care if you're an introvert, I don't care if you're whatever. Just
Well said.
if you go to this event, you need to walk up to a fire and just start conversation, start talking to people. The only way that you can have the best experience possible is with other people. I think that, the drivers are cool, the cars are cool, the event is cool. I think that they do such a great job, and like to take it all in is amazing. And like it's just not until you meet the people of Michigan and you meet the people in the woods that are fighting the same thing you're fighting, the cold, the hunger, all of that. It's not until you make that connection with people. It's like misery loves company, right? Like when you're miserable, if you're with other people that are miserable, it becomes a good time. And I think that if you are going to go out in the woods and just be miserable, you're going to be miserable, right? Like if you're just going to go out there and sit there in the cold and be like, "Man, I hate how cold it is and windy and blah blah blah." Yeah, you're going to have a terrible time. But you know what? If you go out in the woods and you roll up on a group of people and you introduce yourself and you get pulled into their group and you get to hang with them for this stage or whatever, like that is where the memories are made and you guys are going to have a great
Yeah.
time. So
If you look someone else in the group, at the event, not even the group, sorry. If you look someone at the event in the eyes and you say, "I'm cold as right now," and they look you dead in the eye and say, "I'm cold too,"
yeah.
he just bonded.
and
He
then
just bonded.
and then you just start dancing to whatever music is playing and you're just warming up.
Hopefully, I can warm myself up. The more
Yeah,
you move, the warmer you are. I saw
it's
you,
true.
Pat. You got some moves, man.
Dude, it was funny because like the part that got me is the music would kind of like jump around. So like we would all be talking mid conversation and then a beat drop would come and we'd all be like, yeah, so like this is really cool. Yeah, we were just like, dude,
Dude,
I'm
it was
con-
great. It was great.
I'm convinced that half of my videos that I took are just me, like, just I,
And when Harsh had a couple words for you after because you kept throwing your hands up all over the place.
I felt bad because I hit him in the face. I went to fix my I had one of those big Russian hats, kept falling down on me, and I was pushing it back up. And every time I did that, I was like tapping it because he has the long lens on his camera. I kept tapping it until finally I went like this and I tapped it and it hit him in the eye. And I was like, oh, no, felt bad. Felt bad about that. But
And we all endured.
yeah, man, I just had such a great time. I think that
Same.
anybody who's thinking about it, or if anybody has been like, man, it's a lot of money to make the trip and blah, blah, blah. Like, once you get here, it's cheap. Michigan is cheap and the event is free and you're going to have a great time. And I would say that if you can make the trip either even just once in a lifetime, do it. Life is not going to wait. So you got to get out there and just do it. Support the track, support the racers, support everybody, and everything's going to be great. So, but I don't want to go too deep with this episode. We have so much content from this trip. We're putting it all into a condensed video and we're going to try to make it as high of quality as possible. So I just don't want to go too in depth on like things we had to do to survive and get around. And I also don't want to go too in depth on like certain takes we have on Michigan and the whole thing. So Dave, I think that this is a good point for us to sign off and keep an eye out for the video that we're going to put out, and check in with us on all of our socials. Please subscribe, follow us. It all helps. And we are trying to get our follower count up as we are going to more events and things like that. So yeah, definitely follow along and we will catch you guys later.